Well, good morning, everyone. All right, this is first time back out on a bike since my accident, which, if you saw the video of the accident, it shouldn't have done that much to me. But it sure did. What am I gonna say? So yep, it's been 3 weeks since I've been on the bike. Been trying to be good, be trying to just, you know, stay in the car, stay off the bike, not push too far. But what am I gonna say? Had to take the bike today because the pillion had to drive herself somewhere, and obviously she's not gonna get on this bike or the Sportster. So I'm out on it again. I'm still a little sore. I keep telling everybody, you know, when they ask, I just tell them I feel better every day. But I'm doing better. I still can't bend as far, still can't. Squatting's bad. But at least I can get the bike out. My plan was to get the Sportster out first and try to slowly build up to the bigger bike, but yeah, it's still like, it was 38 this morning, so I didn't figure I should probably be out on the small bike because I'd probably freeze to death. Can I ride it? Sure. Can I put on all this gear and ride it comfortably and then get to work and work? No. If I spent an hour on the bike in this weather, I would want to go home and get some coffee or tea and just lay in my chair, maybe go take a hot shower. I can't get to work and do that. I could do it on this bike. Let me correct myself. I could do it on this bike, but not on the Sportster. And again, I know there's people out there that do. Good on you. And they, you know, last year I did. Last year I was driving the Sportster when there was ice and snow on the ground. I would rather not. Last year this time I had heated grips on the Sportster, and it did make all the difference. But those heated grips for that bike are huge. So by the time I get to work, you know, wearing the heavy gloves and grabbing those big ass handles, my hands would be cramped up. The uninsulated grips, no problem. No problem with them at all. Making good time this morning anyway. Anyway, hope all you guys are doing great out there. Forgotten Angels is coming up, and I do plan on going to Forgotten Angels this year. This bike had an alarm this morning again. I think it's because I haven't ridden it in 3 weeks, and fuel settles out, you got moisture in it, probably doesn't, you know, probably also takes into effect that I laid her down, took her home, and then parked her up. I have gone out to start her up a few times, but I mean, that really don't count. Motorcycles like to run. When they've been laid up for a while, they start messing up. The battery just about died in it. That's why I don't have my graphic display back. I got to reprogram it. But probably, I think I left the navigator on when I got home. I was in a hurry when I came home from wrecking the bike to get to my car and try to get to work. So it put me behind a little bit. I'll just put everything back on it tonight when I get home from work. I think the shifter's a little bent. Didn't notice that till I tried shifting it. I may have just moved it around the cog when I put the bike down. Don't know. Or it may just be because I'm not used to this shifter. After being off the bike for 3 weeks. You wouldn't think you could forget something that quick in 3 weeks, but it's like, yeah, this is... Everything feels a little weird. Hopefully next week it'll be better weather and be warmer, and I can start taking the Sportster to work, because it definitely needs to be ran. I've only been able to ride it one time since I put the new legs on it. Put the new progressive suspension on it, and then promptly drove it for about 10 miles and then parked it. So it hasn't even been to work yet. Bike should not be parked. But anyway, so I'm going to the camp out this year. I plan on getting there with permission, because I've been there a few times. They know me there. I still asked. I didn't just impose. I didn't just go, hey, I think I'm just going to show up a day early. I called David, got permission to show up the night before. So it's not going to be like I'm going to be there 3 or 4 days before the camp out. I'm literally going to get there Wednesday night instead of Thursday sometime. So I'm going to get there in time to park the park the bike, put my tent up. Traffic sucks today. Nope, just a jerk they don't want to pull all the way up. So anyway, got some surprises, got some surprise visitors coming up. I've been trying to get as many people as possible to show up for the camp out, and someone I have interviewed that has never been to Forgotten Angels before has planned to come. So she will be there. If you guys want to run an escort service, I don't mean like, you know, a New York style escort service. I'm planning to drive up to the airport and pick her up and then try to get her a bike. She's either going to rent a bike or I'm going to try to find someone who has a bike that will loan it to her. And then we're going to try to have the best time we can for the next 3 or 4 days before I got to turn around and come back home. Alright, let me get to work. I'm done boring you guys with all the tales of my super wrecks and stuff, so let me get on to work. Alright guys, so let me get serious a second. Only a second probably. So let's talk about the wreck. What happened, how it affected me obviously. So I had been off the bike for about a week because there was a huge snowstorm here. The snow packed down to ice, and then there was freezing rain, and then there was sleet, and then there was more snow. So I hadn't been on the bike in like 10 days. And so it was a Monday, supposed to be good weather all week. The weather actually was supposed to be like almost 60 that day. So I'm like, I could drive the bike today because there's not much ice on the ground. What is on the ground is over in the ditches. You know, there's paths to drive through. I can take the motorcycle. Got to the end of one of the streets, and at the stop sign, which is where it's usually the most dangerous, I come in a little hot, saw the ice and decided, okay, well, let me slow her down a little bit. And when I got it in, I had came off the brakes, got it down in first gear, and was gliding through there, and all of a sudden I hit a patch of wetness. And I will know this from now on. So if there's ice on the ground and it's thick enough to actually make ice, and then the weather gets hotter but is still moist, it was probably like 36 degrees, just enough for the top layer to start melting. And there was just a very dewy, slick, you know, sheet of ice, and it had a very thin layer of water on top of it. And you know, anybody that's tried to pick up a glass full of ice water or tea or whatever, that when you go to grab it, it's almost like almost like it's super grease is what it is, super slick. And the bike shot out from under me. You know, I mean, it happens. Obviously it happens because it happened to me. And it threw the bike down so fast I really didn't even know what happened. And by the time I, you know, hit the ground and I jumped back up thinking, okay, it really hadn't hit me yet that I'd actually hit the ground. So as I go slamming on the ground, jumped up, and then the next thing you know, I was trying to pick the bike up, couldn't get the bike up, finally got the bike up, didn't realize I'd hurt myself because my adrenaline was so high. And as I started, I finally got the bike up, and then I started trying to get home, and I kind of couldn't remember which way was home. Now I'd hit my head apparently, and my head is just you know, rattled the mice loose, I guess. And as you can see in the video, I was a little out of it, and I was trying to figure out which way I was supposed to go. I got off on the side of the road and I stopped, and I couldn't figure out at the four-way at a red light which way I had to go back home. So I finally got going the right way. Then I got near my street, and I didn't know which street was mine. I stopped at the right street, but I was like, is that my street? That don't look like my street. Yeah, it was my street. So I should have known that, you know, something was wrong then, but like I said, I wasn't in my right mind. I was knocked a little loopy. So Yeah, instead of just going to the doctor like I should have, I decided to go to work, because that's the most important thing, right? Trying to get to work. Got home, swapped over to the truck, went to work, and about that time, I was probably at work for like 30 minutes, and all of a sudden the adrenaline started wearing off. And that's when it really hit me that I was hurt. So, told my boss I had to go home, because I had to go to the ER. Went to the ER, promptly had a seizure of some kind, and then everything started getting back into focus. And that's when I realized, man, I should have just left the bike on the side of the road, called a wrecker, maybe called an ambulance, because I was out of it. But I didn't realize it until I went through the seizure and I hit the reset button on my brain. And that sounds a little crazy. If you've never experienced anything like that, or seen somebody experience something like that, it literally is a brain reset. And after that, that's when I knew I had messed up. So, lucky for me, I fractured 2 transverse somethings in my back. Can't remember the name now. I'll put it on the screen right here. But I fractured 2, and basically it's like breaking a toe. The only thing you can really do is try to not move it as much as you can until it heals. So I spent a week off of work. Went back to work on limited duty. I'm still on limited duty. I had to ride the bike today, like I said earlier. But, you know, driving the bike, it's not like it's because I wanted to ride a bike. It kind of is, but this is my transportation. You know, if you guys have seen me, this is what I drive every day. Last year before last, probably for the last 10 years, motorcycle has been my main transportation to get to work. Unless the weather is just so bad, or I didn't get any sleep the night before and I need a little extra protection around me, I drive the bike. That's all I drive. So it's not like I have some chip on my shoulder and I'm trying to fight some stigma that prove I can still ride. This is what I have to ride. This is my daily transportation. And if I don't take this, I have to have my wife take me, or drive my wife's truck, and then she doesn't have transportation in case she needs it. So it's not an easy thing to do just for me to jump on in her truck and ride. There's a lot more to it than that. So hope you understand. Don't think I'm just trying to prove something. I mean, not that I don't try to prove something, because, you know, I'm getting old. I am trying to prove that I'm still a viable, you know, what's the thing? Not as good as I once was, but I'm good as once as I ever was, something like that. Anyway, I can still pay the toll, but the toll is much higher. Something else I did want to touch on a little bit. So I've been riding since 1982. I've been on street bikes since 1984. So dirt bikes was 1981. Dirt bike 1981. Street bike 1984. And I've only had one major wreck where a car pulled out in front of me and T-boned me. I don't think I rode after that, because I had 2 broken ribs and a dislocated shoulder. It was probably 4 or 5 months before I rode again after that accident. And I rode every chance I got. If it wasn't raining, I would ride. If it was raining a little bit, I would ride. If it wasn't raining when I left home, but I knew it was going to rain on the way home, I would ride. Literally, unless I was going to get soaked on the way to work, I would ride. So what I want to touch on is how hard it was to get back on the bike. Like I said, it took 6 months. Part of that was because I had to wait to heal. Part of it was I had to replace a motorcycle. But the big part of it was I was literally unsteady on the bike. I had another bike within 3 months, and I just felt unsteady on it. I got it out to run a couple times, and I say it was 6 months before I rode. It was 6 months before I was riding regularly again. So I didn't live far from work then. I slowly got myself back up to riding. It was in a really unpopulated city in Arkansas, so there wasn't a whole lot of traffic. But I can guarantee you, I was very apprehensive this morning. The pavement is dry. I was apprehensive this morning driving to work. Every time I went around a corner, every time I went to cross over a painted line, anytime I would go to make a change and I saw gravel on the road, I just stayed apprehensive. It wasn't so bad coming home this afternoon. I'm almost home now, as probably some of you can recognize my neighborhood. But that's a real thing. And I've been riding for 40 years. 40 years. And I was still apprehensive getting on the bike. And that's only the second crash that's actually taken me off the bike. And not even that long this time. So when somebody tells you that they've had a wreck and they're trying to get back into riding, give them their time. It's a real thing. Alright, I'm home. I've done enough talking today. Let's just make this a short video. Like, comment, subscribe, hit that bell. And if you know someone who's had a bad accident, give them time. And they'll appreciate you for it. Alright guys, see you next time.